Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome back. We are back with a bunch of losers talking about MasterChef, coming back from their Olympic-sized 3-week break. We almost forgot who everybody was. I definitely forgot some storylines, but we're back in that amount of time. So much has happened, but let's talk about it. Double episode. I guess they got to catch up. Episode 7 and 8. Oh boy, they come in, we see balloons, we see the judges' baby, toddler, children photos of them getting ready for their birthday parties. Aaron looked handsome young man he used to be. Joe is still diabolical as he always seems to have been. That wasn't a very good sentence. Joe is diabolical as ever. Do you see that photo? You see how scary he looked as a child? My goodness. It looks like his mom just didn't give him birthday cake. Anyway, which brings us to birthday cakes. Okay, so the judges tell the contestants, you all get to make any kind of birthday cake you want. This is 50-50 basically, because it gives everybody the safety net of doing something simple or the ability to go above and beyond and blow the judges away. At this point in the game, there's 17 of them. My advice is try to play in the middle on the cake. Don't be the worst. Don't be the best. Too much risk in trying to be the best on the cake challenge. And in this episode, we all learn why. And then we also learn why not to be too simple. You can't be too simple, but we'll get to it. Okay, so they all line up. Gordon tells them the deal. Gordon compliments Anna on her winning streak, and she's like, let's just hope it doesn't end. Anna, why would you say that? Like, these people line up before all of it happens. This is a real candid moment. And you would think the judges, you would think this thing was scripted, but it's not. And Anna's like, I hope it doesn't end. And then squeaky little Kimberly is like, I hope it does. Kimberly doesn't miss a beat to throw shade. I love it. It's kind of becoming her signature. Keep throwing that shade, Kimberly. I know it helps your garden grow for sure. Okay, so Anna hands the pen over to Gordon, and he exclaims, the winner of this challenge, gets immunity for their whole generation, and then is in the lead in the next one. And then gets to be on the balcony in the next one. But when he takes the pen from Anna, he still does tell her that she had an advantage from winning the challenge. He gives Anna the ability to pick one generation to take all electric mixers away from. They have to do it by hand. This is her advantage for being team captain of the winning team. Can you fucking imagine a cake challenge with no stand mixer? Like, that cuts out so much. Like, you can whip whipped cream by hand. It takes 15 minutes, but you can do it in 35 seconds with the stand mixer. So this is major cut on time. This is where Anna messes up. Anna, you should have gave it to the boomers. But I know this is where you got to make those ruthless decisions to get ahead. This separates the good people from the winners. You gotta give the disadvantage to the boomers on this one because they don't have the energy to whip through this without the stand mixer. But okay, fine. Then if you don't want to be ruthless, give it to Gen X because it's still gonna fall the same. And you don't want to give it to your people because you gotta get through. You want to make the best cake, but you give it to Gen Z? These fucking TikTokers got the most energy on the platform, and you're going to go give them this disadvantage? It does nothing. They can whip. Look, I'm sure Mert spends enough time in the bedroom with his whisk that he can get through this with no problem. That was a good one, actually. Mert! Oh my goodness. Okay, so we find out Gen Z loses stand mixers. Everyone's making their cakes. We get the walkthrough. Everyone's getting going. We got some ambitious ones. We got some crazy ones. Let's start with the OG boomer, Rebecca. A chocolate mayo cake? Instantly, I'm like, this sounds like one of those weird ancient cookbook recipes. And she wasn't kidding. She's talking about how eggs didn't used to be as accessible as they are now. And that you would take the couple eggs you had and you made mayonnaise out of it, and then you made those eggs last all week. Wow. Okay, Rebecca. But we'll see how that one comes out. While they're back there, we talk to Christopher. Christopher is talking about his Black Forest cake and how, like, when he was a kid, they always had just, like, regular vanilla birthday cake. The adults were eating the boozy Black Forest cake, and he always wanted that, so this was his homage to that. And then we jump to Anna. Anna's doing this amazing brown butter coffee cake, and it sounds extravagant and over the top and lots of components. Now here, like I said, we got someone doing something so crazy that if it works, you win again. Like Anna, she's on track to just three-peat, hat trick. Like, let's see what happens. Then we're bouncing around. We got Mert. He does not miss a moment to compliment himself. He's talking about how the kitchen's hotter because he's in there. Mert, you're icing everyone at home. Honestly, I wish Becca had the advantage of duct taping his mouth shut and he would just focus on being great and not cocky. Hopefully, maybe one day. Cut to Becca. She's doing this moist chocolate cake with a peanut butter frosting, caramel peanut brittle, chocolate ganache. Sounds amazing. And she's even doing 3 tiers when Gordon only said you had to do 2. Look, there's a time to overachieve. You got to listen. You got to listen to the judges. Everything they say is important. There was a time, season 6, when I won my first mystery box. Graham Elliott was making 3 breakfasts, and and they said, everyone only has to make 1. Only has to make 1. But I heard that is, I need to do exactly what Graham's doing. And I did 3. I did 3 breakfast items and I won the challenge. So look, this is where Becca's listening, going, you only have to make 2. But she's like, but wouldn't 3 be really nice if I can do it? Let's see. It's also about, we bounce around. Finally, we get to see Haley on the camera. About freaking time. The cornhole queen. I just like Haley. I like her vibe. I like the way she cooks. I like her accent. She's super cool. And she's talking about elevating her strawberry and vanilla cake with lemon. There's like 5 people doing strawberry and vanilla cakes, and they've all said they're elevating it with lemon. Give me a fucking break. Lemon is not elevating your vanilla and strawberry cake. Like, man, I don't know. How about, like, if it's gonna be lemon, how about a limoncello curd? Like, that's elevating. How about, I don't know. I'm like, just annoyed at how it's just like, oh, I'm gonna put lemon zest in it. You specifically, Haley. But there's a few boomers in the back. Speaking of the boomers in the back, we cut over to Giggs. Giggs is doing a vanilla and blueberry cake. Giggs, I love your healthy approach to everything, man, but now is not the time. You are making a birthday cake. It's dessert. You're celebrating once a year. Let loose and load up on the sugar. Let's go. If you want to know what a blueberry cake looks like, go look at Dara Yu from season 12 Back to Win. Watch her make a better blueberry cake than Gordon Ramsay's team itself. We all laughed at it. It was so fucking good. Like, I would watch every episode of the season before you go on your season and make sure you don't fucking do anything that was great, because you're not going to do it as well. I would have seen that blueberry cake and said, make sure when we have a cake challenge, I'm not doing a blueberry vanilla cake because it ain't coming out as good as Dara's. Okay, I've been talking a lot about Dara lately. She's a homie. Gotta love Dara. Throwing her all the props I can. Fatima, she doesn't have the electric stand mixer, so she's got a whisk and she's doing an Italian meringue. You don't have an electric stand mixer. You have to pivot, do something else. Ditch the meringue. It's not that important. You got to do something that you can show off with the hand mixer, with the hand whisk. Like, this is your moment to pivot and show the judges you're not going to be taken out by this. But this looks not good. You can't do an Italian meringue and get it nice and smooth and silky. You just can't. It's not happening. Anyway, I mean, that one just bugged me. Like, you should have just pivoted and done a powdered sugar frosting and gotten on, make something in your cake, like, fantastic. Kamei, funfetti cake and cream cheese frosting. Sounds like something I'd get at a Publix. Shout out to my Florida homies. Okay, jumping over to Squeaky Kimberly. She's also doing a strawberry cake. Arthur is making a strawberry cake that's mostly strawberries and whipped cream and not a lot of cake. And then Daniela is making a strawberry cake. And hers, as we're going along, is looking actually very well constructed. Very nice, tight, tall, smooth. And then they're all starting to come together. We look back. Rebecca's chocolate mayo cake. It's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Actually, like half the cakes in this kitchen are Leaning Tower of Pisa. You got 90 minutes to make a cake. You have to get these cakes out of the oven in less than 30 minutes. Meaning, in the first 10 minutes, you need to have your batter done in the oven. Takes 20 minutes to bake. Pull them out. Let them rest for a few minutes. Flip them over. Get them out of their pans and get them in the blast chiller. You got to get them in the blast chiller. You can't put frosting, whipped cream, any kind of fucking decoration on a warm cake. It will just bleh. Anyway, okay, let's jump to the top. We've inspected the cakes. The snake walk has happened. The judges have put the fear of God in everybody, and everyone's praying to the cake gods above. And a lot of you are lucky you didn't have Christina Tosi there. I'm telling you what, you're lucky it's a Roan just walking around wishing he could eat some birthday cake. Becca gets called up first. I'm telling you, between Rebecca and Becca, who else is playing? You guys are all playing ketchup. That's what you're playing, which, look out, Rebecca might put ketchup in her next cake. Shit. You know those burger cakes you see at Publix? You got a future, Rebecca. Okay, so Bex, as I think Arthur called her, Becca gets up. She's got a slight lean to her cake, but it's still well constructed. It's 3 layers. It's frosted great. It's holding up. She does a great job. They lift it. Amazing, perfect ratios of frosting chocolate cake. And she's got the peanut butter brittle in the top. The ganache dripped beautifully. Well constructed. Good job, Becca. Kamei has finally made it to the top. The judges are happy. But in my opinion, it sounded like a Publix cake. It looks like a Publix cake. It's 2 very small layers. Lots of sprinkles, cream cheese frosting. The piping looks like vanilla poops. I mean, there just wasn't a lot of great out there, so she slips through to the top for her generation. Because that's the other thing. These generations, they're taking a winner, the best cake from each generation. And all the other generations are super lucky because if they were doing it by best cakes, it would have been everyone except Mert from Gen Z at the top. Same thing, Kimberly for Gen X. She gets called up. She's back in the top again. She gets great remarks, looks well done. But again, if she was up against everyone, not just everyone in her generation, we would have been flying over her like Kansas. Okay, last called up, Christopher from the back. The boomer with the Black Forest cake. They love it. I love it. It looks great. I mean, if I would have done anything different to elevate this one, I would have used Luxardo cherries instead of the maraschino. That would have given it a little more rich, decadent, elevated flavor, and I would have tucked some of those Luxardos in the middle. And then, yeah, but it still looked great. I think, personally, he should have won this round, but it goes to Becca. And now, because it goes to Becca, Giggs is panicking. A boomer's not saving him this time. That last time that Rebecca won for her generation, Giggs was fucking giving the happy dance. So now we're at the bottom, and it's rough. And it's why we're here. It's why we have a podcast, because there's more losers than winners. And Anna doesn't even get called up by name. Gordon throws out the classic, "You know who you are." And Anna, without hesitation, without skipping a beat, we could have held our breath. She picks up her cake and starts walking to the front. Look, it sounds amazing. Brown butter coffee cake. She's got this amazing caramel frosting. I mean, she put in so much flavor that, you know, when you have a cake and it's so sweet, you're like, I can't have another bite. That's basically what she did here. Not to mention, this thing is crumbling because she was the last one to get her cakes out of the oven, last one to get her cakes into the blast chiller, which means this thing's too warm to fucking decorate. And she's throwing on more frosting, thinking it's gonna like cement the thing together. It's not. It's crumbling. And it's bad. It's just bad. And she's crying. We're crying. And I'm freaking out right now because Anna's she's my Hail Mary to the end, top 3. So her in the bottom right now, I'm worried for her. And I was hoping that, well, hey, look, it looks bad, but it tastes amazing. But they're not saying that. They're saying they can't take another bite. Next, Arthur is called up. Yeah, his cake, it's well constructed, but it's full of technical errors. Like almost whole cut like he cut these strawberries in giant quarters. Some of them are in halves. It's so many strawberries. He even said it was an ungodly amount of strawberries. And it's a ton of whipped cream. He didn't do a cake soak, so there's no flavor, no moisture in the sponge. It's just dry sponge with a shit ton of whipped cream. I mean, shit, it'd probably go well with a little bit of coffee, but that's just because I need something to wet the palate after all that dry cake. I don't know. It was a strawberry dump. And then last, but certainly not least, Giggs. Giggs gets called up. It's constructed like a 5-year-old put it together. He even wrote his name on the top. Giggs, you're in your 50s. You don't write your name on the cake. And then he didn't even space out the letters right. He couldn't fit the S in Giggs, so it just says Gig. I don't even know. He had to just been back there just fuck it. Which I can admire that a little bit. He's got a grin on his face. He's making the best of it, but it's definitely one of those moments where you're just like, Giggs, Chris's kids from last elimination could have done a better cake. And it's not, you can tell it's not sweet. The frosting is basically runny because I don't even know, just did macerated blueberries into whipped cream that couldn't lift up the blueberries. So what does he do? He put flour and cornstarch in his frosting to thicken it up. Raw flour in his Okay, so now I'm thinking Anna's safe. Great. Anna's gonna live to see another day because no one wants raw flour in their cake. Gordon goes and delegates with Joe and Aaron, and man, it's taking a long time. They come back and they say Giggs is going home. And Gordon drops a big ol' and. The fucking place goes quiet. I'm getting chills. I'm getting chills right now thinking about this. And then he says, also Anna. Damn, Anna, damn. I wanted to see her go further. I feel so bad for Anna. I've already messaged her. She's coming on the podcast. We're talking this weekend. And then we're also going to be cooking together when I'm back in Dallas. Looking forward to it. Anna, I'm so sorry. But hey, let's get together and show the world what you got and what they missed out on. All right, jumping to episode 8. Let's get through this quick. Generational mystery boxes. They lift the boxes and the ingredients from their generations. It's like, you know, like boomers got all this old, super processed, lives forever on a shelf shit, all the way up to the Gen Z's got fucking fake meat and jackfruit and so much processed. It's like the millennials actually have the best fucking basket. Anyway, so because Becca, not Rebecca, Becca won in episode 7, she has her immunity pin, and she also gets to dish out a disadvantage. Gordon gets to tell her she gets to choose whichever generation gets whichever box. Okay, so this is really confusing. So she gives the boomers the Gen Z box, Gen Z gets the millennial box, millennials get the boomer box, and Gen X gets Gen X. Okay, hopefully you're tracking that. So out the gate, Christopher drops a bomb on us. He says he's living with cancer. I don't remember this being discussed before. And I'm just like, wait, can we talk about this a little bit more? I'm freaking out for Christopher right now and not about his food. Like, he's just in the MasterChef kitchen, living with cancer. Like, and he's a doctor. Isn't he a doctor? This is crazy. So this is a tough one for so many ways. They only got 45 minutes. Boomers get a box full of fake meat and fake milk and jackfruit. That's going to be bad. We chat with Horacio. He's doing a veggie burger croquette with a jackfruit hot sauce and this side of like eggplant fake Parmesan thing. I don't know. We got Michael. He's making a cereal crusted pork chop with fresh pasta. He's doing it for his mother. Can't go wrong cooking for mom. Jeet, she's doing something simple, maybe too simple in my opinion. Like I've heard just spinach and rice pilaf. I'm like, rice, are you a boomer? Gee, you're not a boomer. Why are you doing rice pilaf? Warren, they cut to Warren, and he is like, oh, perfect. And he flips over his eggplant, and it looks burnt. Christopher is doing this panko-crusted chicken thigh with a jackfruit slaw, but he's cooking the jackfruit, so I don't know how it's a slaw. Maybe a chutney and some other stuff, and it's all over the place, and he's got chicken thighs the size of my head, which, look, you guys don't even understand. You got to pay attention. It's not just when you're cooking. When you're in the pantry, too. You got to look and see, like when Amanda and I picked duck and we picked out these duck breasts, they were massive. And I'm like, yo, the normal time to cook duck, we got to start 10 minutes earlier because these things are so fucking big. Christopher, this early in the game, you could have picked a different meat and you're picking these giant chicken thighs. Anyway, figure it out. Here we go. Rebecca is doing a cashew cheese stuffed gluten-free French toast. I mean, that sounds more millennial than the word millennial. Let's go, boomer. And then Arthur is doing a play on steak and eggs. Fatima, finally getting some camera time. I watched this yesterday. I already forgot what she made. Here we go. Mert says he's trying to keep it simple. Mert looks stressed from the minute he got that box. Yo, dude, you got the best box. Like, apparently he's not getting a lot of box. Mert, I'm ragging on you so bad. Don't hate me. He's boasting he's only got 6 ingredients. He's got a Wagyu filet. He's doing rustic red mashed potatoes and this like side caprese avocado salad. When I have steak without a sauce, I send it back. Like, sorry, that was an Office joke. I've been watching The Office so much. Where's the sauce, Mert? Where's the sauce? You got this massive fucking Wagyu filet and you're doing, okay, rustic truffle mashed potatoes. Cool. I dig it. No one's done it yet. And then caprese salad on the side? No, just make the composed dish better. Like, we'll come back to it. No, we're not coming back to it. Scratch the salad. Do some steak. Char some onions. Do some acorn squash. Chop them up. Make this little vegetable medley to go with the potatoes. And then a beautiful red wine reduction or a peppercorn red wine sauce. Like, something, dude. If you only got 6 ingredients and your potatoes are done in 20, like, you've got so much time. Anyway, let's get to it. We get through the disaster of them cooking all this shit. And look at this. Horacio is called up first. Fantastic. The dish sounded crazy. These vegetarian fake meatball croquettes with a jackfruit dipping sauce. I still don't get the eggplant thing. I'm with Aron. The croquettes needed an aioli of some kind or maybe a ranch, something fun. Ditch the eggplant. Give us more meatballs. But congratulations, Horacio. You shined. And the smile on your face made it worth it for sure. Finally, Haley makes it to the top. Beautiful, well-executed salmon dish. Judges are happy. Salmon's cooked really well. Personally, I could see it. It could have been a little more on the medium side. But hey, nonetheless, you're at the top. And if we've learned anything in the 14 years of MasterChef, you're climbing out of the dungeon at the perfect time. You're rising to the top. You're getting some camera time. You're getting interviews. And we get to hear that Southern accent and see what you're doing. And I'm making a new pick for Haley, top 5. If she's rising right now and she does well in the next team challenge, top 5. Okay, next up, Daniela. Also, finally, with her hot dog meatball ramen. Yeah, it sounded fucking crazy. It sounded like we needed to roll some joints and then make this decision. But she's got it. Like, it looks really good. She did the broth to pour on the side, which is a fantastic move. Definitely elevates it. You know, obviously she's using the packaged noodles, which, I mean, what do? You're not going to make ramen noodles. So, I mean, you could have maybe done like a play and maybe like made a dumpling, but hey, she's in the top. And then last, of course, when you're cooking for mom, you can't go wrong. Michael gets called up. He's done fresh pasta. Pork chop inside cooked perfectly. We can all tell it's a couple burnt spots on that cereal, but nonetheless, the cook on the pork chop was great, and it was your time for the win. But hey, this podcast isn't about the winners. Let's talk about the losers. Let's go, losers. All right, first up, from the bottom. Damn. Christopher drops this cancer bomb on us and then is headed to the bottom. The whole time he looked flustered. Like, I could really tell. And I can't wait to ask him about it because he just looked like he just did not feel comfortable the entire challenge. Look, he comes up, he serves his dish, they cut into it, the chicken's raw. What are you gonna do? Chicken's raw. You're going home unless someone else is serving raw chicken and theirs tastes worse. So, Christopher, come on the pod. Next up, Murty Mert. Look, watching Mert cook this filet, you'd think he's never touched a filet before in his life. Yo, Mert, because it's Wagyu, all you gotta do is like cut a couple minutes off. It cooks a little faster because it's so much more fat and it's thin lines of fat. I mean, it's such soft, delicate fat. It just cooks faster. So what you think medium rare is, cook it rare and you'll get medium rare. Anyway, you kept opening the oven, flipping the steak, working on this crust. It's not hot enough. Is it cooked long enough? You're poking it with the thermometer. Dude, you beat that thing up. And I feel bad for that cow. It didn't deserve to go out like that. Anyway, Mert is trying to say Becca screwed him by giving him the millennial basket. Bro, you got the best basket. You got the best cut of meat. You fucked it. This is on you, bro. You were in your head. You lost all your confidence. You looked like a fish out of water. And this was the moment you needed to be confident. This was the moment you needed to be cocky. Hear me out. Mert, you're lucky Christopher served raw chicken, or we would be chatting this weekend. Arthur's called up third. I actually love his dish. It looks super simple and elegant. Here's what you can tell from this, and this is why the judges are so good. You can tell Arthur has gone out to a lot of fine dining restaurants, had a lot of fine, fancy meals, but he doesn't know how to get from the basics to the fine dining level. And it's hard. Look, there's a lot you got to learn in the way. But he needed so much on this to put it together that he just missed. Overcooked the steak a little bit, undercooked the egg a lot. Like, the egg being your sauce is like fucking such a cool move, but you just needed to cook it for like 2 more minutes. And then the ranch crusted potatoes was fucking brilliant. I actually stole that, and I did that last night on a baked potato, and it was fucking fantastic. But, dude, you needed more. You needed some small, like, little pops of green veg. You needed a sauce to drizzle. Bring that steak down just a little bit. Maybe put an herb crust on it. Like, I see what you were trying to do. You were just not in the same ballpark as the idea of the dish you wanted to be at. But anyway, sadly, Christopher goes home. Christopher, I'm sorry, bud. I know you have amazing flavor profiles and concepts in your brain and from your travels and from your life. I can't wait to talk to you and learn more about you. And I know everyone else wants to as well. So I can't wait to see you on the podcast. Guys, this was a long one. It was a 2 episode recap. Thank you for sticking around. If you love these recaps, please like and subscribe and also share. We got to get this podcast growing. I talked with the producers. They're not going to let me be a judge on MasterChef unless I have social media numbers like Nick DiGiovanni, which I don't know how you get there, but he did it. You guys shared his shit. Share my shit. Nick, come on the podcast, dude. I need to pick your brain. Everybody, go bug Nick. Tell him to come on the podcast. All right. Love you, losers. Talk to you later.